How you going? It's early. It's my watch isn't set to the correct time, so but I know it's 6 a.m. ish. Because Japanese Grand Prix is about to start. Morning, everyone. Oh. How's everyone feeling? Where are we tuning in from? Is it as early for you as it is for me? Is it early evening, twilight, dusk, dawn? All right, getting a view of the circuit now. 5.8 kilometres long. Quite a circuit, obviously, being Suzuka. Lots of history here. 18 turns. Getting a replay here of Leclerc going around Verstappen back in 2019. I don't see that happening today, but I could be wrong. Doing all that stuff. Where am I? I'm at home in London. Getting a replay. How many times are we going to see the Senna versus... How many... I'm not going to do a shot for every time, but how many references to the Senna-Prost crash are we going to get when they're going through the chicane? Any guesses? I'm going to say at minimum 4, maximum 7 throughout the Grand Prix. That's my guess. But I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. Alright, starting grid. Off the back. Sargent is in the pit lane actually. And then Guan Yu Zhou, Hulkenberg and Stroll occupy P18 and P17 alike. And we got Valtteri Bottas and Kevin Magnussen. They'll share the 8th row of the grid. Esteban Ocon, Alexander Albon. They'll start off row 7 together. Then it's Gasly and Lawson, 12th and 11th respectively. Lawson, he'll be looking to move forward up into the points hopefully. Alonso, he'll be P10. Yuki Tsunoda, the hometown boy, he'll be P9 on the grid. Then it's an all Mercedes 4th row of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Carlos Sainz, it's an all Spanish speaking 3rd row of Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez. And it's going to be Charles Leclerc starting off P4 alongside his good mate Lando Norris in P3, who's been out-qualified by his teammate Oscar Piastri, who will share the front row with Max Verstappen, who we expect to fuck off immediately. Shot here at Yuki. There'll be a lot of those throughout the Grand Prix, I can imagine. It's he's pretty popular around these parts. Alright. I left my glasses in the office over the weekend, and I'm currently regretting that move because I can't actually really see shit. But, you know, a bit of adversity's never hurt anyone. Well, actually, that's not true. Adversity, it's hurt a lot of people. But sometimes, adversity is good for people. So I'm going to power through here. That's my daily alarm going off at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I'm not actually too sure how to switch off. How many pit stops do we think Ferrari will fuck up? Well, that depends on whether it's a 2-stop or a 1-stop strategy for Ferrari. If it is a 1-stop for them, then it's going to be 2 pit stops they fuck up. If it's a 2-stop strategy, it's going to be 4. Alright, as we get a shot of the Rolex clock, and the hand goes dadoosh, and off we go. Here's the formation lap. Max Verstappen just pulling away from his grid box if you are trying to sync up. Oh. I'm hoping there's going to be some carnage at the start. All right, Sonoda on the soft, Alonso on the soft, and Lawson on the soft. So they'll have the tyre advantage on the top 8 and the cars behind them at the beginning. So that's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. Looks like if you're starting on the soft, it's going to be a 2-stop strategy, and the medium stoppers might be a 1. So there you go. 140 million visitors have attended the circuit since it opened in 1962. That's up there. Bit of chat about formation lap tactics and high jinkery going on there. I don't really care to weigh in on it. It's early, folks. Is this Sonoda's helmet cam? I think we'll see a lot of this. I rate the helmet cam at Suzuka with how smooth this surface is. Here we go. Red Bull boys in the garage. That guy looks about as tired as I do. But here we go. As they're snaking through the final chicane now. They'll start doing their final burnouts. Weekend attendance, 250,000 people. Just shy. Expected nothing less from the Japanese fans. Passionate, committed, backbones. All right, I'm leaning in a bit here because I'm kind of struggling without my specs, to be honest. So if it gets loud, apologies in advance for that. Christian Hornet, looking angry. G'day to all 203 of you backbones as well, by the way. Thanks for joining me on this fine Sunday morning. Or Sunday evening, depending on where in the globe you may be joining us from. As we see the cars begin to line up, the top 10 have found their grid slots and just we're waiting on the stragglers now. Sargent, obviously, he'll be from pit lane, so he'll be hoping for a little bit of dedugery down at T1, but we'll see how we go. As the green flag, it seems to just be sauntering actually across the back of the grid. It flies at the back of the grid. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5, and off we go. All right. Oscar's had a great launch. And Lando too. Lando's going to have the lead, I reckon. Oh, there's a massive smash up in the back end. And no, Verstappen's covered it off quite well. And now, yeah, off he goes. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Go on, Liv! Yeah! Good man! Oh, wait, no, he's been done on the back end. Oh, that's fucking outstanding! Outstanding! Alonso, he's sniffing around. Won't find anything doing. Go on, Lawson, hold him off. Up into the 10th spot. And they're going at it, Hammer and Tom. Oh, and it's a full-blown safety car. So that's great stuff from the young man from Pukekohe. Oh, and there's debris absolutely everywhere down at turn 1. A lot of puncture hazards. They're going to want to get that swept up, hopefully, before the cars come through for the first time. So Sargent's gained 3. So we can assume that both Alfa Romeos and Esteban Ocon have been caught up in this. And yet we're getting a confirmation visually of that now as we see Valtteri Bottas nursing his car all the way back to pit lane. The good thing about this being a safety car and him being able to continue is that he's really not really any worse off in this race than he would have been starting off the rear anyway. But an early safety car, I don't think this is going to throw too many cats in and amongst the proverbial pigeons here because it's, like I said, it's a lap 1 situation. So maybe some guys might take the opportunity to get off the unpreferred tyre if they may have been, forced into a strategy they're not so keen on. And yeah, hacking around at the back of the grid. Maybe now's the time where you just switch to the... I don't know. So, whose fault was that? Let's break this down. So, Albon's jinking around. I think Bottas got massively squeezed by one of the Frenchies. Here's a rear view of Max Verstappen. I think the shithousery unfolded a long way back behind this. Yeah, Oscar, it was a good launch from Oscar. It wasn't good enough to get the move done on Max, but it was a great launch from Norris, who put on a good challenge around the outside, but not to be. And how about that racecraft? Let's hope we get a replay. But how about that racecraft from Liam Lawson? The stones to put those sort of moves on your teammate on lap 1 of his home Grand Prix with a Honda power unit. I mean, that's brave. Oh, and Hamilton's been deduced off the road, but he's actually benefited from it. Oh, no, he's been... The initial hit actually almost did him half a favour, and then, yeah, the rest of it wasn't grouse. Yeah, that's... Don't know. I'm surprised Albon's got away with that with no damage, to be honest. Oh, here we go. This will be the best shot. Yeah, I'd say... There's no way that Ocon could have known that Albon was also on the outside. So when he did move over on Bottas. Yeah, all sorts of sparks, all sorts of shit going on. Oh. It's front wing for Perez, who's missing some furniture off his front wing. So, a fairly typical start here. It's all gone swimmingly well for Verstappen, and Perez has fucked it. But that will be good news if you're Lando Norris. That will be good news if you are Oscar Piastri. That's good news if you're pretty much anyone who isn't Sergio Perez, to be honest. Lewis Hamilton with this quite bizarre chrome lid, but I do like it. Lewis Hamilton with a very small bit of damage. Apparently this could just be tactics from Mercedes. We've seen it before. Do you remember back? Do you remember back in the Mercedes dominance period, when Lewis would like make up something was wrong with his car, and then they like come in having won by like 11 seconds, and being like, that was the hardest race of my life. The car was basically on two wheels and missing the entire floor, and actually half the steering wheel snapped off halfway through the Grand Prix. So you should essentially just bow down to me the fact that I even brought it home, let alone won with a second's pace advantage over everyone else in the field. Those were fun times. Front wing assembly at the Alfa Romeo team there. Looks a little bit like trying to get a USB into the charging point. It was a good few goes at, oh look, it's a complete fuck up. They put the wrong wheel on my... Alright. Jesus. I mean, thank God this is under safety car, because this is a circus of a pit stop. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the chat as we're on the safety car. Richard. Which Richard would you like on the pod? There's a few of them. Richard for sure. Yeah. We can get him on. Richard's fairly easy to book because he's not a part of the Formula 1 Driver Academy. There's hopefully actually going to be a lot less drivers and Formula 1 driver development programs next year, as the safety car is going to end. But yeah, like I was saying, there's political happenings that mean that there will probably be a lot less Formula 1 team affiliated junior drivers next year. So hopefully getting them on degenerate podcasts such as Screaming Meals will become a little bit easier. Now I'm guessing the local TV networks are in charge of the broadcast here, and Sky doesn't have control because we got no replay of that fight between Lawson and Tsunoda. I was gonna say it's about time for my morning Red Bull, but the safety car's about to come in. So let's see if we can get through the first couple of green flag laps post safety car without getting so bored that I retreat to the fridge. Here we go. All right, Norris parked under the arse of Max Verstappen through 130R. Used to coming through here a lot quicker. Waiting for Verstappen to put the pin down. And I think it's going to be around about now. No, I was wrong. I wonder if he's going to do that hilarious thing that I'm a big fan of, actually, because I just love shithousery. And here Verstappen goes through the hairpin, through the chicane. Puts the foot down, and Norris has been caught napping somewhat. So who's close? No, all fairly fanned out as they go through 1 and 2. Alonso's tucked up in behind Sainz. Alonso's had a good start actually from P10. He's taken both the Mercedes and at least one of the Alpha Tauris. Yeah, sorry, I realised I'm meant to be commentating this. As my PlayStation controller gets disconnected. So it's Sainz and Alonso battling over 5th and 6th. There's not really much more interesting happening than that. I mean, but as I say so, it's Bottas again with another off-road excursion. What the fuck, says Valtteri Bottas. There's your quote of the race. Oh, and Russell, he's gonna do it. He's gonna go full centre on Lewis Hamilton. He won't like that. That's a great move from George Russell. Bit of a domestic, and here's Lawson to cash in. Come on. And Hamilton, with a bit of an anti-social move at the end of the straight there from Lewis Hamilton. A real, how's your father at the end of the straight. And gets the spot back. So that's good work. Well, it's actually horrendous work from the two Mercedes guys. They've slowed themselves up to gain absolutely nothing in this race. But, hey, you like to see them having a crack at each other. I've not had my morning Red Bull yet. No, but it's imminent, I can tell you that much. Here we go, here's a replay on board Hamilton. Yeah, check this out. How's the wheel movement? Fucking hell, I don't know if you can... Woo. That's punchy on your teammate. That's punchy on anyone, but that's punchy on your teammate. And, oh my God. And Sargent has dedoused Valtteri Bottas. Oh, Logan. Anyway. Verstappen with the fastest lap. Pulled out a 2-second margin on Piastri, who's pulled out a 2-second margin... Sorry, he's pulled out a 2-second margin on Norris, who's pulled out a 2-second margin on Piastri. Now might be a good time for Norris to drop back and give Piastri some DRS because he's got both the Ferraris less than a second behind him. But lap 7 of 53 is a little early to be playing DRS tactics. So we're going to follow Perez's progress through the field, or actually so far lack thereof. He's still stuck behind Guan Yu Zhou in the slowest car on the grid, but DRS now enabled, so that's going to help him out. So it's going to be tough for Lawson to make much more progress than this. He's going to have to get lucky because you've got the big four, essentially, plus Alonso. Alonso is just Perez if he was doing his job. So we've essentially got the big four teams ahead, plus Alonso, minus Perez. Definitely king in the midfield as it stands right now. Pulled out a nice little 1.6 second gap to Tsunoda. And hey, looking pretty good. And here's Perez making progress finally. Up to 16th from 17th after having to put that new front wing on the car early doors. So he's on the hard tyre. I believe he's the only... No, he's not. Everyone who got deduced at the start is now on the hard tyre. So Stroll's up Tsunoda. Davidson giving Lawson another well-earned rap on the commentary. I reckon Lawson's going to get in Sonoda's head here. I reckon Sonoda's getting hot in that lid back there. He won't be pleased about that start. He's had his pants down a bit. I think we could see some stupid stuff from Sonoda, but he might keep cool because it's his home race. You don't want to crash out of your home race. And he has changed his ways. He used to crash a shitload, but remember when like Sonoda was the Logan Sargent of the grid in his rookie year? That's why I think that there's some meat on the bone for saying, no. Keep Logan in there, give him another year, he'll sort himself out. Because let's not forget, Sonoda in his first year in that AlphaTauri was shithouse. To the point where David Coulthard publicly dressed him down. Because Sonoda himself said he probably didn't feel like he deserved a second year. And then Coulthard just absolutely let rip on him. But Chin Man has been proven wrong by Sonoda in the last year and a half, I'm going to say. So just give these people a bit more time. I don't like the football manager-esque style of just immediately sacking people. I think it's stupid. It's as intelligent as I'm going to make a point on that one. And as I'm defending Logan Sargent, he obviously gets a penalty for driving into the side of Valtteri Bottas, but there's a fine case of timing. Where are we at? All right. Perez now 15th, with Hulkenberg having to do an early stop. He might have some kind of damage, I'm not too sure. Norris now 3 seconds off the back of Verstappen after 4 laps of racing. So that's good. So Alonso's now on his soft tyres, potentially going to start to be that cork in the bottle for the likes of Lewis Hamilton and subsequently George Russell if he does back them up. And this is good for Lawson. This is actually probably the first solid race stint he's actually going to be able to have done in the AlphaTauri. I mean, because what you had, Zandvoort was just chaos head to toe. Then you had, obviously, what was after that? Monza? Oh no, Monza, I guess he was able to put in a solid race stint there. I just forgot that Grand Prix happened, to be honest. And then you have Singapore, which is by no means a normal Grand Prix. So he'll be gaining good experience here nonetheless. And there's a long message in the chat. I'm going to give that a read. See what's after the commercial break that was Singapore. Well, we are now back to regular schedule programming of Max Verstappen shitting on everybody from a great height. Yeah, that's foolish from Perez, as we're getting a replay of his rejoin after the pit lane. He seems to have forgotten the rule that once you cross that line, you can't overtake anyone. So yeah, quite rightly getting a 5-second penalty there, I have to say. That's amateur hour from Sergio. Speaking of amateur hour, here's Alpine and Haas going into it. I believe it's Magnussen and who's the more annoying one? Ocon. Yeah. Ocon all over Magnussen. DRS wide open. This should be fairly straightforward. But that Renault engine is pretty shit, but no, it still gets the job done with DRS wide open. A little bit of a headwind down the straight we've heard earlier on in the broadcast from the Sky team. So that will make a little bit more overtaking possible throughout the Grand Prix. Lap 11 of 53 if you're trying to sync up. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. And both AlphaTauris have stopped. What? AlphaTauri stopped. They got rid of the soft tyre, which are fine. But how is Lawson now behind Tsunoda? That's... Yuki stopped first, so they gave Yuki the under... Alright, so they gave the second place car the preferential pit stop on the road. That makes sense. I'm gonna take my rose-tinted glasses off for a second and say, to be fair, well, Tsunoda is the one in the championship. Although he is only 1 point ahead of Lawson in the championship. So... Curious decision. Not that curious. Calls for Rick Armstrong on the pod. Yep, I'm up for that. He won't be. Here's Alonso. So let's see if Tsunoda gets Alonso as well. Because, I mean, given the power of the undercut he seems to have achieved on Lawson, no, he's still 8 seconds, 2 seconds, sorry, no, he's 2 seconds off the back of Alonso. And he should be able to sneak up to him through the S's in the first sector. So the medium tyre pit window about to open up on lap 16. Here on 12 of 53. So 4 laps until those medium guys are going to start potentially diving in. And, oh! A massive dedouche from Sergio Perez on one of the Haas drivers. Magnussen, he'll be uttering all sorts of Danish curse words underneath that lid. He has been, and we'll reconfirm with a replay, but he has been dedouched. And replay, Sergio Perez locks his left front, dedouche. He's not having a good day, Sergio Perez. Fuck, I have front wing damage again, says Sergio Perez. No shit, son. You just drove straight into the side. Oh my god. It's a real penis or genius move. That hairpin number. We've seen 2 fuck-ups there today so far that I can recall. No safety car or any need for stuff like that. Lawson's already reeled in Tsunoda by a lot, actually. He's really up, so... go on, put a move on. 2 fingers up. Helmut Marco's Jaxie. That'd show him. So Ted Kravitz wants there to be a virtual safety car because Lewis Hamilton could benefit from it. That makes sense. AlphaTauri are a pack of cunts. I'm just going out there. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. AlphaTauri, to quote Daniel Ricciardo, okay? So these aren't even my words. I'm paraphrasing, sure, but AlphaTauri are a real bunch of cunts, eh? And not my words. Ricciardo said it first. So don't come crying to me. Go on, Lawson. Virtual safety car, naturally. But, although, it's as Piastri comes in for his tyres. So that's going to be good for him. I like that. So who's going to come chundering into the pit lane now? This is intriguing. So Albon's coming for his free pit stop. I feel like track position here is still quite important. It's not quite as bad as your Hungaries, your Monacos, your Singapores even, but More radio from Perez saying the car doesn't feel right. I would imagine he's probably bent his steering. And the virtual safety car is ending. So Lando Norris may have been stitched right up here. Now, I consider Lando Norris as a good colleague, if you will. Acquaintance. Consider Lando, he's a great guy, he's an acquaintance of mine, but I do feel Oscar's owed one back from the last couple of times where they've been running 2 and 3, you know? Because, obviously McLaren being a New Zealand team, I can see why they do stitch up the Australian every so often, and I do endorse that kind of behaviour, but good to see. It'd be good to see Oscar get a nice stroke of luck, actually, for the first time in a while. Perez is under investigation for causing a collision. I actually quite like that. Retire the car, the message from Red Bull. So yeah, I mean, what a fuck up. What a fuck up. So this is interesting. So the AlphaTauris must be going 2-stop because they've done soft then medium as opposed to soft, hard, and then hard for the rest of the race. Maybe that's not possible. Again, I said in yesterday's broadcast that I haven't really been following the weekend too much as far as your practice sessions. So I'm not too sure what actually, chat, maybe you backbones can tell me. What's the preferred tyre looking like this weekend? Sergio looks like he's about to cry as he's wheeled backwards into the garage. He looks like a sort of, like someone's got like really bad dementia and they're in a wheelchair and they're just being pushed around. With his car up on the jacks like that, going backwards into the pit box, there was a strong vibe there was a strong nursing home vibe. I'll put it that way. So, and Perez has also overtaken somebody under yellow flags again? Is that? Box opposite McLaren, say the Ferrari strategists. So whatever, they should probably just do what McLaren do then. If I was a Ferrari driver and somebody got on my radio saying, do what McLaren doesn't do, I'd take that as a green light to go right ahead and just do what McLaren do. Because sure enough, sure as death and taxes, someone at Ferrari has fucked some numbers up. But that's just my 2 cents. Piastri on the hard tyre. What's his pace like versus Verstappen? Oh, and Hamilton gets it all sorts of wrong. He's going to have dirty tyres. Is George going to line up and move? Oh, he should have. That's pussy stuff from George Russell. That's... all sorts of dirt being kicked up in the face of George Russell. Here we go. And now he's going to have a go around the outside of Spoon, which is an interesting decision. And he's going to be... And that might be forcing another driver off the road. It's Lewis Hamilton, so it won't be, but... When you go off the road yourself, I mean, he's breached track limits defending the position. I feel like you have to give that to George. Box, box, say the Red Bull team to Max Verstappen, and he's in the pits. Now, this is going to be really interesting to see where he comes out, contrast to Piastri, who obviously benefited from that virtual safety car pit stop. Hamilton comes into the pits, quite rightly so, I'd imagine. Comes into the pits before he gets a 5-second penalty. Here he is. Tyres off. Tyres on. A little bit slow on that front right, and away he goes. Oh, where's he going to come out? Reference to the Tauris. Here comes Tsunoda. Oh, this is going to be tight, is it? No. And this is actually quite good for Lawson because it gives Sonoda a face full of dirty air for a couple of laps. Yeah, just a massive push going into the second Degner. Stop the race. Hey, fair, that's fair from George Russell. He has been shown the pain. But he should have sacked up and just sent it to the inside of that hairpin. Like I said earlier, it's a real penis or genius move, but with Lewis having dirty tyres from his off-road excursion, he should have sent it in the hairpin. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm guessing you guys do tune in for. Driving advice for Formula One drivers from an insurance broker. And here's Norris in the pit lane. So, and I completely lost track of that battle between the Red Bull of Verstappen and Piastri. Now, obviously, so Piastri's jumped by quite some margin Lando Norris to the tune of around about, I'm going to say 8 seconds by the time it's all said and done. Yeah, maybe. And so he now inherits essentially second on the road with that hard tyre on. Who's running P3 realistically? So Norris still runs P3, but quite a few seconds down the road. Alonso has somehow ended up in P4. Who else? Is there anyone in the top 9 that shouldn't be there, top 10 that shouldn't be there? Or have they all stopped? I believe they've all stopped now. Hamilton, race control, incident involving 63 and 44 forcing another driver off the track. Let's see how long it takes Ted Kravitz to have a mental breakdown about that. So Sainz now boxes from the race lead. I'm going to wait for this to play out. And then it's going to be time for the highly anticipated morning Red Bull. Gasly's in. Okay, no, I was wrong earlier when I said pretty much everyone had stopped. And are the AlphaTauris going to get by Gasly? They are. Grouse. So back up to P11 for Lawson. So they've essentially swapped on the road. So Tsunoda's 6 seconds off the back of Hamilton now. Lawson's 1.4 off the back of Tsunoda after he got shafted by the complete penises at AlphaTauri's pit wall. And one of the Mercedes going very wide there. Oh, so that, fuck me. Oh, right, no. I thought Verstappen was lapping Lewis Hamilton already. That would be extreme. Lap 19 of 53 if you try to sync up. Just trying to look at the chat here. Like I was touching on earlier, I have left my glasses in the office. Well, you have to say, this is going all right. We've got, so Stroll is going to be in DRS for Lawson. He's closing up on him a bit. So we're under threat there. Really under threat there, actually. Stroll looking really fast all of a sudden. This is strange. So we could really use a bit of DRS here if you're Liam Lawson. I'm just watching that gap. I am, by the way, I appreciate you're going to be all over the multiple universes of timing on your various internet connections. I'm on lap 20 of 53, currently looking at Alonso go through the second Degner. This is actually a nice little pack of cars here. Nice to see something else, a pack of something else. It begins with C, that isn't, you know. As Alonso battles to defend against Sainz, but he's going to lose that one quite easily. As we see the Aramco-sponsored McLaren. Aston Martin. It's early, team, and I think that's enough for me to justify the morning Red Bull. Russell radio. Consider plan B. So Russell's now barking instructions back to Mercedes. And fair enough too. There was a message that flashed up on the screen there about the investigation that I missed. Has Lewis got a penalty, or have they waved it off because he's Lewis Hamilton? No further. Yeah, exactly. So Ted's obviously in the gap between his commentary been down to the FIA with a duffel full of cash. How is that not... I'm sorry. Look, I appreciate their teammates, and they're probably taking a lighter view of it. And I don't mean to bash Hamilton, because I know I'm a Verstappen fan, but I am also... I appreciate Lewis Hamilton's talent. But how is that not forcing another driver off the road? That was about as forcing another driver off the road as forcing another driver off the road gets. He literally defended the position and then went so wide that he took himself off the road, as well as the car trying to overtake him. What is this Ted slander? There's a question there from one of the chat. Ted Kravitz is the most biased commentator in the history of commentating. That's the slander. That's the inside joke there. If anyone needed that explained. Alright, here's Lewis Hamilton. Let's see if he forces Fernando Alonso off the road. No, manages to have done that one just fine. I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying. Lance is retiring. Oh no! But he was all over the back of Lawson, so there's that. It is positive. What's happened to Stroll? Don't know what's happened to Stroll. He's out of the car already, though. I mean, he's already shot himself to the back of the garage there, so... Oh, the front wing's fucked. Or the rear wing's fucked. I think somebody was wiggling it around at the back there a little bit. Sounds a bit filthy, but I'm going to go get my morning Red Bull. As I unstrap myself from the commentary position. Oh! Give us this day our daily Red Bull. Hallowed be thy name. Right. Woo. Here we go. We are on lap 23 of 53. 30 to go. Lawson looking to get past... Oh no, he's been passed by Gasly. Is he passing Gasly or has he been passed by Gasly? I think he's been passed by Gasly. That's suboptimal. Gasly on the hard tyre, Lawson on the medium. I'm not sure about this strategy from AlphaTauri. Soft then medium. It seems a bit weird. Yeah, I mean, I'll forgive an AlphaTauri being overtaken by an Alpine. Yes. Who's got the worst car on the grid at the moment? Question to the panel. Who's the slowest car? Is it A, the Alfa Romeo? Is it B, the Williams? Is it C, the Haas? Is it D, the AlphaTauri? Or wildcard answer, is it E, the Aston Martin? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Alfa Romeo. But the Aston Martin is shit now. Which is kind of rinse and repeat for them, if we look back over the years. Basically, Lawrence's business plan, and I'm going to get to that actually at some point throughout this Grand Prix, I hope. Lawrence's business plan is just copy who won, be awesome for like 6 races, and then just stop developing the car and fall to the back of the grid. He's pulling away on the straight, says Alonso. So think of something. I'm not sure what they're meant to think of that's going to give him any more straight line speed. I mean, like I was just saying, the development race at Aston Martin is non-existent. So Norris has really pushed right up to the back of Piastri here now. He's closed that. I think that gap was about 4 seconds at one point. So has he taken a lot out of the tyre? Has he just got the pace? Is Piastri nursing his tyres? Was he waiting for Norris to catch up to the back of him? And now is he going to give him a face full of dirty air and then fuck off back up the road once we get to the next pit stop phase? That's what I'd be doing. But I'm not a Formula 1 driver. Another question, Logan DNF. Yep. I'm guessing he probably had some kind of front end damage from careering into the side of Valtteri Bottas, who's also out. Quite an attritional race early on already, actually, as well, when we look at it. So, behind him now, Lawson's only got Zhou, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, and Albon, who are still in the race. And I'd back him to stay ahead of all of those characters. So really, hopefully, there's some dicky fuckery, as my year 10 science teacher put it, with the front runners, and we can benefit from their misfortune. You got to stay optimistic, folks. I mean, this is motor racing. James Blair for Checo's seat 2024. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. I actually want to do Le Mans. Oh, fuck. There's chat. If we sell, here's the thing. Here's the deal, guys. If you buy enough of our merchandise, when we do eventually release it, there's chat of trying to fund an LMP2 Pro-Am entry for Screaming Meals, which would be grouse, to put it lightly. So, yeah, maybe maybe we'll sell you like, maybe we'll sell watches. There's quite a lot of margin in those. If we could sell each of you a watch for like £1,000, then we'd have, there's 230 viewers. So actually, if each of you bought a watch from us for, let's say £1,500, let's give us 1,200, let's give us £1,000 profit margin. Then we could get halfway to funding the Le Mans seat, basically. Maybe we'll make a t-shirt that says "Get James to Le Mans." We'll get some kind of Twitch financial operation underway as well. Has Lawson stopped again? I believe he has. We are now in the hard tyre. And they've swapped from the McLarens. They should have crashed into each other at the last chicane just as a sort of PR piece. That would have been quite funny. Here we go. All right, so Lawson's been... All right, here's what I do like about this. Lawson's now been given the opportunity to undercut Tsunoda. When Marcus set up the bank, when Marcus sets up the bank account, well, we'll get some finances into Screaming Media Limited. But yeah, that's the plan. When you talk about a 5-year plan, that's the Screaming Meals 5-year plan. Get James to Le Mans by the time he's 30. Actually, in 5 years I'll be 31, so that's fucked. Albon's out. Okay, so now there's literally no one in the race behind Lawson. The only way is up for Liam Lawson. Back in the gym today as well, folks. Had an off day yesterday. I went to the gym every day this week and I hated it. I fucking hated it. But it's allegedly good for me. So there's that. But didn't go yesterday. I had new backbones in the morning. Then I watched the mighty Wars get absolutely smoked by the Brisbane Broncos. Then I had lunch with my parents and my godfather. Then... I don't know why I'm just giving you a diary of James. But fuck, we'll carry on with it. Then I got, what did I do after that? Then I took Ali out for dinner, which was very expensive, but it was actually really good. Then Ali had a house party, and I blew out at about 8:15. I think I decided that I'd had a bit too much socialising for the day, and then I went home. Tried to place some bets on some NFL games, realised that I am still blocked from gambling by my bank, because I essentially did what, recovering heroin addicts or alcoholics do with my bank. I've never had a gambling problem. I bet on sports once and lost and have never gambled since. But I listened to this podcast by Bill Burr, who's a comedian in the States. This is a Formula One commentary stream, by the way. I listened to this podcast about the NFL from Bill Burr in the States, and they pick 3 or 4 games, and they just stick a couple of bucks on it and see who wins. And so I'm going to start joining in on that fun. I would say we should do something similar over here. I'll pick a few bets on the Formula One. You guys can kind of play along with us. However, I have a rule whereby I do not bet on motorsport, because when you're picking a team in a bull sport, and this is a Formula One commentary, by the way, it's there's so many less variables. The only there's like star players getting injured is about all the variable you can have. Here you've got 20 people racing against 20 other people. Which sounds really obvious, but let me get to the point. There's too many variables. The car can break. Someone can crash into you. The fucking all sorts. There's too much shit going on in a Formula One race to actually make a good gambling product out of it. Maybe that's something that we could develop. Maybe we could become like the new Bet365. That would definitely fund a Le Mans seat. Holy shit. We should start a gambling website for like Formula 2 and Formula 3 drivers. We'd need to do a lot of data though. We'd need some serious input from AWS, who don't seem to be able to do anything right actually when you look at the usual data they provide. And here's Alonso wheel to wheel with Tsunoda. This is going to be surreal for him. That's pretty cool. I mean, it'll be less cool for Tsunoda that he's been overtaken, but if you have watched, I'm sure there's been features on it. Apparently, like Tsunoda's first race when he was about 1.5 foot tall, so 3 inches shorter than he is now. He went to the track and he watched Alonso at the Japanese Grand Prix, and his dad was like, "That guy's the man." And now he's racing that guy at the Japanese Grand Prix. That's quite a cool full circle moment for Yuki Tsunoda. Here's Lawson, who's now the last car on the road, but he's on the fresh tyres, closed right up to the back of Kevin Magnussen. And this should be easy pickings for the young man from Pukekohe. Yep. No shithousery from Kevin Magnussen. That's pleasing to see. Kevin Magnussen, good friend of one of my business partners in the Netherlands, actually. So I know straight from the horse's mouth that Kevin Magnussen is a massive backbone. And a great night out, apparently. That's what I've heard. I'm going to make an executive decision. I'm going to ignore Max Verstappen's existence for the rest of this race. Because he's 14 seconds in the lead and it's lap 31. Lando Norris leads with the fastest lap as well. 4 seconds over his teammate, Oscar Piastri. So it's a McLaren 1-2 followed by a Ferrari 3-4 and then a Mercedes 5-6. So, I'm going to go full delusion and just pretend that Max Verstappen is some kind of mirage. That's what I'm going to do. So Lando Norris leads. McLaren 1-2. You'd love to see that, especially at somewhere like Suzuka. And that's a slick pit stop from AlphaTauri, 2.6. And Lawson flies by Tsunoda, but Tsunoda, he's going to have far younger hard tyres on that AlphaTauri, and he's got a nice little bit of clean air, but he's going to have to clear a little bit of traffic, all that kind of shit, I quite like this though. I do not hate this. 21 to go. And Lawson now back ahead of Tsunoda to the tune of about 7 seconds. But Tsunoda on younger tyres. Is he going to get that 7 seconds back over 20 laps? I'm not so sure, If Lawson scores points again here, and it is an if, it's an uphill battle. Like, he is in the AlphaTauri. Hulkenberg's going to stop in front of him. He'll take 11th. Was Ocon due to be in front of him? I don't think so. I think he's looking really strong for a P11, Lawson, which makes sense because he's the driver that Screaming Meals is supporting. And we fucking love a P11 here at Screaming Meals. It's 11 or 13. Nothing. Like it's always fucking P11 or P13. Oh! Sorry, that was a bit excessive, but stretching. Somebody just said letting Checo out like his wife did. Yeah, well, look, you know. Mistakes happen, feelings get hurt. So it's still Norris leading with that 5.3 second advantage, now 5.2 second advantage over his teammate Oscar Piastri. Oh, God. Yeah, Perez. Still looking like some kind of dementia victim. Just not sure what's going on, where he is. He's sad, but he's not sure why. He seems to be in a foreign country. He doesn't know. People are just standing around looking at him. Yeah, this is, like I said it before and I'll say it again, strong nursing home vibes coming out of the number 11 garage. Yes, some discussion here. Will Clem be anything other than steamed in Brazil? Absolutely not, no. Is anyone watching from Brazil? Have we got any Brazilians in the chat? And if so, could you tell us what time it is in Brazil? Okay, so 5.5 the gap, with 20 to go between Lawson and Tsunoda. 3 a.m. So yes, I would say that Novalak and Armstrong are currently in full flight in Sao Paulo. I'd be very surprised if they're watching the race. I'd be very surprised if they are asleep. I'll leave the rest up to your imagination. Maybe they're watching. Boys, if you're tuning in, send a message into the chat. Bernie Collins is now apparently a former performance engineer at McLaren. I thought she was ex-Aston Martin. It's a bit odd. As we're on board Hamilton, the man who can do no wrong. Maybe a civil war might break out on Twitter between Team LH and Team GR. Is there a Team GR? Russell Sprouts. Russell Sprouts is that's a way better name than Team LH. Team LH sounds like, I mean, I realise he came up with it a long time ago, but it sounds like a real sort of like corporate move. Like, give us a, like Goldman Sachs. It sounds like something that Goldman Sachs employees would put at their email footer. Hashtag Team GS. It sounds so corporate. Whereas Russell Sprouts is fantastic. I love that nickname. No, Tyne, don't start Team GR. I'm all about Russell Sprouts. So Norris still leading. This race is actually flying by. I've just looked at my stream time, and we're only an hour and 9 in, and there's less than 20 laps to go. Hamilton and Leclerc are both in the pit lane. How's that gap between Lawson and Tsunoda? How are we looking? It was 5.5 with a couple of laps ago, maybe 3 laps ago. Gasly's in the pit. Are we going to do him? Very unlikely. If we do get by Gasly on the road, I'd say he'd No. Okay, we're not going to get past Gasly on the road. That's fine. He'll rejoin in front of Lawson. Probably make pretty quick work of Hulkenberg. And I'd say Hulkenberg's probably not too far away from stopping. We really just need one mechanical failure in the top 10. Is that too much to ask? I know that I've already... this Grand Prix has already graced us with 5 DNFs. 4 of those cars significantly quicker than the AlphaTauri. So it's... Look, I don't want to sound greedy, but if we could just have one little turbo let's go, or a fucking, you know, something. Give me something! Piastri in the pit. From P2. There's a weird camera shot of Oscar Piastri and his pit board there. But anyway. So Piastri's in. He's not going to undercut Loris? It's early, folks. He's not going to undercut Lando Norris for the lead. Yeah, how's that gap? I was talking 5.8 second gap now to Tsunoda. So Lawson's actually pulled out more of a gap on those older tyres than Yuki Tsunoda. I'm going to say that again for the AlphaTauri management. Lawson seems to have pulled out a gap on older tyres against Yuki Tsunoda. I'm going to say it again for anyone in Australia who might be able to hear me. Lawson has pulled out a gap on Tsunoda on older tyres. Can you hear me? Helmet! Sorry. 36 of 53. Norris still leads. Yet to stop. Oh no, we seem to have made some kind of error in our calculations. The gap's now 4 seconds. Oh well. I'll admit when I'm wrong. The gap's now 4 seconds, so he hasn't actually pulled out a gap. 3.7 now. Right. Norris pits from the lead, comes out. He's going to rejoin in third behind George Russell. Right. All right, where are we at? We're in one of those weird sort of lulls where there's a lot going on, but there's also nothing going on. Because some people are stopping, some people have stopped, some people haven't stopped. There's a lot of people with hards on. Is Clem going to test Brazilian stock cars? I don't think so. He's doing a race. He is doing a race in Brazil, but it's a karting thing. Towards the end of the year, I think. I'm not too sure. Who has if somebody asking who's got a hard on. George Russell's got a hard on. Lando Norris has a hard on. Piastri has a hard on. Leclerc hard on. Hamilton hard on. And actually everyone else has got a hard on. Except Sainz. Sainz is the only one out there without a hard on. So, but it seems to be working for him. He seems to be, you know, with his medium, giving the same kind of performance as everyone with a hard on. So, fair play, Carlos Sainz. But he is yet to stop, though. This is all quite tense now. Carlos Sainz, so he'll box from the lead, giving it back to Lando Norris. All right, so Hulkenberg finally in the pit. Lawson holding pretty steady. He's still got that 3 second. He's got a 3 second gap to Tsunoda. Those tyres might be struggling by the end of the race because I think, how many laps has Tsunoda's tyres got on Lawson? I think about, I'm going to say about 5 or 6. Maybe more. Yeah, 6, I think somebody's saying in the chat. So 15 to go. Has this been a good race? That's my question to the... It's been mediocre. It's been somewhat interesting. We've got a good podium going. You know, 2 McLarens potentially. So that's kind of cool and different. And we like to see that. Really solid performance from Lawson again. So we love to see that. Are they going to send Captain Dementia back out again? No way. Why? Why? Why would you do that? Is this just a charity thing now? Is this like a Make-A-Wish program where like they know that they're about to sack him or something and they're just like, look, have a few more laps and try and have some fun out there? Because that's what I used to do. Granted, I'm not in Formula One, but you know, whenever I got taken out at the start of the race, I'd take a lap, have a conversation with myself, calm myself down, and go, hey, look, this isn't what we wanted. But at the end of the day, you're still out here driving a go-kart around for the next 45 minutes, and that's a lot more fun than what most people in the country are doing right now. So, suck it the fuck up and enjoy yourself. That's what I used to say to myself. So maybe that's what Perez has done. Maybe Dr. Dementia has just gone, hey, fuck it, I've got a Formula One car here. Should we go out and have a bit of a skid? Which is great behaviour, you know. As I say, Dr. Dementia, I'm now thinking that might be a better nickname for Helmut Marko because he seems to have forgotten that Ricciardo got absolutely cream spinached by Lando Norris last year. How bad... Sorry, I'm not going to waffle on about it. I'm not going to waffle on about it. I'm not going to waffle on about it. Piastri looking to take P2 from George Russell. He's now only a second back. So is George going to stop again, or is he going to try and battle it out for the next 13 laps? I'd guess he's going to try and stay out there, no? Can we get Helmut Marko cryogenically frozen? Can we do that? That would be so fun. Oh, no, I'm not going to do it. I was about to make a joke about Helmut Marko potentially being in the Hitler Youth and performing experiments on humans back in the 1940s, but I thought it might be inappropriate. George Russell wiggling around at the end of the straight a little bit there. Is Piastri eager to get by, but he's got time. This does seem like the most painful section in the world to follow a car through. That first sector at Suzuka. The dirty air must just be horrific. Oh, Perez is back in. Oh no. Oh no. It's just sad at this point, isn't it? Like, How good is... No, I'm ignoring his existence for the rest of the Grand Prix. I forgot about that. Right. The gap now 1.3 back to Tsunoda. 1.5 back to Tsunoda from Lawson. We've got 13 seconds worth of clean air ahead of Lawson. So it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, we're going to need a top 10 DNF if this is going to happen. Points. But if you can say anything, it's been a fucking stellar performance from Liam Lawson again, regardless of whether he finishes P11 or P12. Piastri, and he's going to swoop around the outside. That's a lovely move. Textbook from the young Australian to take P2 from George Russell. Retire. Sergio Perez being told for the second time in this race to retire the car. Who was the last driver to receive a radio call to retire the car twice in one race? Woo, that's so funny. Oh my God. What is Red Bull doing? That was the most Ferrari thing that Red Bull has done all year. Retire the car and then just leave the poor bugger sat there stationary for the nigh on 35 laps of a Grand Prix. Send him back out for an installation and then go and retire the car again, mate. He could have had an ice bath and he could have been in a chopper on his way back to the W Hotel now for a massage and God knows what other stuff he gets going on after a Grand Prix these days. But, like, what are you doing to this man? You're breaking him. This is just cruelty at this point. Is this another one of Dr. Marco's human experiments? Like, what, are you testing the human mind to see how much abuse it can take in one afternoon? What's going on? That was so Ferrari. That was so Ferrari of Red Bull. 1.1 seconds between the AlphaTauris now. Lawson still holds on to that P11 spot. 10 to go. Right. Okay, so Tsunoda's now within a second, finally, with 10 to go. So Lawson's either going to have to get his elbows out or play the political game and just let him through at his home Grand Prix. And then let public outrage ensue. That's what I'd do if I was in his position, to be honest. If I was Lawson right now, I don't know. Well, no, if I was Lawson right now, I'd back my talent and try and just stay ahead. But if I was Lawson with my talent, then what I'd be doing is I'd be getting on the radio. I'd go full Lewis Hamilton. I would go full Lewis Hamilton. I'd get on the radio and spread propaganda. And I'd go, do I really have to let him past? And then they'd be like, we haven't told him anything. And then they go like, let Tsunoda past. And he'd go, and then I'd go, all right, fine, I guess he's the full-time driver, I'll let him past. And then sort of geniusly sort of paint this picture to the public that AlphaTauri told him to let Tsunoda past and then let Twitter take the rest of the work over and just, yeah, and like I said, let public outrage ensue and just sort of mastermind the whole process. You know, really sort of set yourself up as the victim. That's what I would look to do if I was Liam Lawson. But, like I said at the top of the comment, I am not Liam Lawson, and he's probably got the talent to get the job done. Love a bit of public outrage. 1-2 for McLaren still. With 7.5 to go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if the Alpines could have some kind of implosion, if George Russell could find the wall again. Look, you don't wish bad luck on anyone. You never want to see things happen that way. But there's more important things at stake here. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. But a multi-car pile-up, you know. Oh, and that's divine. Charles Leclerc, that was outstanding, sir. That was filth. And we only saw the onboard. Something tells me the offboard camera is going to have a better shot of that move. That was stupendous. Oh. Leclerc takes P3 with an audacious move around the outside of turn 1 and 2. Giving those grandstand fans all their money's worth and some. Here we go. Here's a replay on board Russell. Rear view. Charles Leclerc, DRS open. He's not, by the time they get to the braking zone, Leclerc's still quite, I mean, he's behind Russell completely. Ooh. I was thinking David Croft is just what did he exceed track limits? Well, okay. The rant that I'm going to go on if Charles gets a penalty for overtaking a driver off the track for that, and Hamilton's got away with just putting George Russell into the grandstands at the start of this race. Oh, and Red Bull, by the way. Ooh, can they win the championship? Yes, they will win the championship today. They will win the Constructors' Championship today. Because if they were outscored, I think, by Ferrari, but they're not going to be outscored by anyone. Sorry, that was a brief moment there where I have accepted Max Verstappen's existence once again in this Grand Prix, and I will now swiftly return to ignoring his existence. So it's Norris who leads by 15 seconds over Piastri. It's quite a gap. And then it's 3.6 back to Charles Leclerc. That is quite a gap from Lando Norris. That's good drive. Fair enough. Does this count as 2 DNFs for Sergio Perez? Do you have to get out of the car to count as a DNF? 6 to go, by the way. And yes, 6 to go, by the way. It's still 9/10 of a second. Back to Tsunoda. Now 8/10 of a second. Back to no fucking way. Turn 2 incident involving cars 16 Leclerc and 63 Russell leaving the track and gaining an advantage. If there is a 5-second penalty coming here, I am going to blow up. Just make sure you give each other plenty of room, Lewis. All right, so don't drive them off the road is basically what they're going to try and say to you here. Let's see what level of corruption and on what scale we're dealing with here. Eyes firmly on the steward's room here at Screaming Meals HQ right now. I'm not saying anything more until we get a verdict. I'm not saying anything more. So Tsunoda's really starting to push now. No further investigation. Good. All right. Well, hey, I'll take that. If you're going to let driving someone else off the road go, fair enough. Fine. Good on you for being consistent, at least. You're off the hook for now, FIA, but I still know you're up to something. Right, so back to 9/10 now, the gap between Lawson and Snowden. Come on. 5 to go. Hamilton DRS wide open. Not going to be close enough. This could be quite a tasty little fight here between George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Alonso, I mean, yeah, he's definitely extracted the best out of that car. He's 17 seconds off this fight, but 8 seconds to the good on Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. Come on, Esteban, do something stupid. Here we go. This is actually quite a nice little fight here. Come on, Carlos. Launch it. This might be our best hope. This is actually almost reminiscent of Singapore 1 week ago, where it's been between Sainz, Hamilton, and Russell, but in complete opposite order. Sainz is all over the back of Lewis Hamilton. Are they going to switch them now with Sainz that close to the back of them? What? Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Yeah. I mean, it's not Monza. It's quite hard to overtake here. I think Lewis, 8-time world champion, has got him covered. This is fucking bizarre. I don't know about that. George Russell has been beaten down in this race like you wouldn't believe. He's been driven off the road by his teammate. He's now got himself back to a position where he's in front of him and could hold him off for the next 4 laps. But because there's a red car behind him driven by a fast Spaniard, they've said, hey, remember that guy who drove you off the road earlier? Can you just let him through even though there's a car right up your jacksie? And I don't mean to Hamilton bash on this stream. I really don't. But he's been quite villainous throughout this Grand Prix. And Hamilton's not even been courteous enough to stick around and give George DRS to defend. This is just fucking... This is just rude. This is just rude from Mercedes. Yeah. That was a fucking dumb call. Okay, now they're telling Hamilton they need to give George DRS, but this is just... Alright, this is a bed shitting if I've ever seen it from Mercedes Grand Prix. This is a real bed shitting. Yeah. That is an implosion from the pit wall at Mercedes AMG Petronas Grand Prix. Blah, 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 blah. That's a fuck up. That's a certified fuck up from Mercedes. Come on, Lawson! He's got Tsunoda back out of DRS now. Gone! I want Carlos to pass Hamilton now. Come on, Carlos. They can pit George Russell and go for the fastest lap, I suppose. Won't make a difference to the championship. It looks like Red Bull's still got that tied up. 51 of 53. And here's how they run. I'll take you through the field. It's Lando Norris out in front. Oscar Piastri, he follows up in P2. Charles Leclerc occupies the third spot on the podium. And then it's Lewis Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Lawson, Tsunoda, Zhou, Hulkenberg, Magnussen. Those are your 15 runners. 14, sorry. Then you've got Albon, who's out of the race. Sargent's out of the race, along with Stroll, Perez, twice, and Bottas. So how's Sainz tracking on pace? 1.2 shy of Lewis at the moment. I would love it. Here's Hamilton's radio. Third podium in your rookie season for a team like McLaren, given where they were at the start of the season. That's not insignificant from Oscar Piastri. The greatest Australian driver in the world. He's so good, in fact, that I believe he's enough for Australia. I don't think you need another one. That's how good I think Oscar Piastri is. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I think that Ricciardo's washed and overrated. Take nothing away from Oscar. The fastest Australian in the world. Lawson, 52 of 53. And Lawson is 1.9 to the good on Tsunoda. As you see the crowd starting to sort of funnel out now. They love a late night stick around though here in Japan. Usually the grandstands will still be full at around 7 or 8 p.m. Which is great stuff. I mean, I'm usually one to leave a Grand Prix on lap 20. That's usually my move. Tsunoda now 2.2 seconds off the back of Liam Lawson. Oh, fuck. I see what's happened there. Tsunoda's had to let Max Verstappen past. And so he lost a few seconds. Now Tsunoda's only 0.6 off the back of Lawson. So this is actually quite tense now. But we are on the last lap. So Liam's just been lapped by Max Verstappen. So that means we need to do one less lap, essentially. Of the 53 planned for the afternoon. And we have run out of time for something to happen with the other front runners. Alright, it's fine, it's lap 53. I'll pretend he exists again. Max Verstappen is 20 seconds in the lead with the fastest lap. Yeah. Look, I know a lot of the fans out there don't like to see it. I know most of the neutrals don't love to see it. But I quite like to see it because I love Max Verstappen. He's actually a cracking bloke. Real nice guy. Anyway, sorry, let me get to the end of the race before I make this point. As we watch Max Verstappen round the final chicane, Lawson's still ahead of Tsunoda. I'm applauding the win for Verstappen. And New Zealand defeats Japan. It's P11 for Liam Lawson. Top AlphaTauri once again. 3 in a row for Liam Lawson. Outscoring Yuki Tsunoda. That's grouse. That's grouse. And a double podium for the McLarens, that's also grouse. I rate that. The New Zealand team. Agreed, actually. By Leon Lawson, who, if you recall back to that Screaming Meals episode, completely concurred that they should in fact play the New Zealand national anthem if ever they win again. So now that he's sort of in Formula One, maybe I can push that agenda a little bit harder. I reckon we should play the New Zealand anthem anyway on the podium for Lawson and McLaren. Constructors champions Red Bull as well. Congratulations. It's a shame for Red Bull in many ways that they don't actually manufacture cars, because they'd sell a lot. You get the feeling, no? Especially in the Netherlands. Getting a nice message there for the team at the factory from Max Verstappen. Yeah, so something that pisses me off, in one way about Max Verstappen, but people in my office, right, and people in my just generic, everyday, normal life, will often come up to me and go, what do you think of Max Verstappen? Because they know I know a bit about Formula One and all that kind of carry on. And I always say, I think he is the best driver. I think he's an unbelievable talent that we won't see again in the sport for a very, very long time. But also, I think he gets a bad rap in the media. All of my mates who are genuinely mates with him and know him all say he's a really, really, really nice guy. And he gets a bit irritated by the media perhaps, but he's a lovely bloke. Everyone I know who knows Max Verstappen has never said a bad word about him. And I'll say this to people, and then they'll have the fucking audacity to go, yeah, I still just don't like him. Well, why the fuck did you ask me then? Why the fuck did you ask me then? If you're gonna just enforce your opinion anyway. That's like me. I was like, oh, what's your dad like? Oh, mate, lovely guy, great on the barbecue, total legend, my old man. And then going, nah, I still think he's a dick, even though you've never met him. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. Sometimes I really hate British people. And I am half British. I can actually prove it. So don't come moaning at me. See? Hang on. Proof. Sometimes I really hate British people. Anyway, sorry, as we see Max Verstappen jump out of the car and go over to his World Constructors Champion teams. Team. Oh, someone's just lost a phone. If they just lobbed it into Parc Ferme. That's quite funny. Here come the McLaren boys. Right. Zach Brown celebrating a double podium and more successful contracts. He's getting better at those. Yeah, hey, that was the Japanese Grand Prix. It's gone quick. It was only an hour 45 stream, so about, let's call it an hour and a half's Grand Prix. That's a fast Grand Prix. With a passport. Why do I have my passport on my... Did I just say with a passport? Or with a safety car? I don't know. It's still early, guys. Do you remember this interview last year where Johnny Herbert really awkwardly told Max Verstappen that he won the World Championship? That was a weird day. Can he win next? Can he win in Qatar? Fuck, man. If you were to give me a list of countries that I wouldn't want to win a World Championship of anything in, Qatar would be right up there. How do you plan an after party in Qatar? I'm guessing you need to be in cahoots with the royal family. Which I'm sure Formula One is. I mean, there's no way they're not. Let's be honest. Abu Dhabi. It's easier to do it in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi it's essentially just Vegas for English people. Abu Dhabi. So yeah, Dubai. Relatively easy to organise an after party in that neck of the woods. Well, I mean, look, that might be the last time we see Liam Lawson in a Formula One car for quite some time. And what an outstanding job he's done. He's done himself proud. He's done you, Backbones, proud. He's done his fans proud. He's done New Zealand proud. What a fine quartet of performances from Liam Lawson. 4 races, no damage, 2 points, beaten his teammate at least 3 times. I can't actually remember what happened in Zandvoort. I mean, how much more do you need than that? If you're an Austrian sadist, then you need a bit more than that, apparently. But for me, Liam Lawson's done more than enough, and he's done New Zealand proud. Kia kaha, mate, and we'll finish on that note. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Appreciate your company, appreciate your support. Like I said, hopefully we'll be ramming some products down your throats in the near future, and we'll be able to fund a Le Mans drive for 2028. We'll leave it there. Thanks, team.